Okay, I think we're back. I think we got the issue taken care of. Oh my gosh, my bad, y'all. See, I be trying though. I do be trying. I be trying to make it work for y'all. I really do work for myself because I want to watch this too. Like, I want to watch this video. I've been waiting for. I'm wait all day for this video. Um, but yeah, we were having some technical difficulties. We were struggle streaming, like always. But I think we got it figured out. And we can go ahead and get into it. I feel like I should do my intro again because I removed the previous live. So hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. My name is Dee, and we are going to be getting into Candace Owens responding to Ben Shapiro because he decided to call her out and say some not so kind things about Candace. He called her disgraceful. So, yeah, and Candace responded with class, as always. She posted a Bible verse. I did a video on this last night, so if you want to go see that, check it out. It's my previous live. Um, and yeah, she responded with the Bible verse, and then she announced that she's going to be doing an interview with Tucker Carlson. She did it earlier today, and so I've been waiting to get into it. I have a glass of wine. We have to, because you know how Candace is, she snatches my soul sometimes. Today we got Candace and Tucker in the same place at the same time, child. We need this. So I'll be partaking. You are more than welcome to partake as well. But if not, you feel free to have some water or juice, whatever your cup of tea is. Um, but yeah, go ahead while you're here. Go ahead and hit the like button for me. It really helps to push my video into the algorithm, and really push my videos out. And also, I'm on the road to 100 subscribers. So if you could also subscribe to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm just posting on Facebook that I'm live again. 1 second. All right. So let's go ahead and hopefully get into it for this time. So we're going to let's try to play it on Twitter again, since I think the sound is fixed now.
In 1616, the Roman Inquisition hauled in Galileo, the Italian astronomer, and commanded him to stop saying that the Earth revolves around the sun. Shut up, they said. Everyone knows that's wrong, and you're a bad person for saying otherwise. That's a well known story, of course, and we laugh about it now, 400 years later, because the authorities were completely wrong. Galileo is a hero, they are fools. And we explain this by pointing out that they were religious nuts. They were superstitious. Nothing like that could ever happen now. But it turns out the one constant in human history is human nature. Not only does it happen now, it happens more than ever. Watch Candace Owens get widely attacked, not by one person, but by everyone for being right.
People like Candace Owens and others have been flagrant at putting out disinformation into the public sphere.
The top performing post of the week was this post by Candace Owens, a far right-wing commentator and a favorite on Fox, denigrating George Floyd. It just shows how this website is a radicalization engine.
You do have this sort of parade of MAGA world that are parroting Russian talking points.
Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Tulsi Gabbard. I think somewhere along the line, they don't believe this, but they think that it's in their interest to say these things. These people are almost collaborators.
Start again. Don't you do it. Don't you start again with that nonsense. You were doing good. stay good. You stay good. Don't you do it. I'm gonna hit play. Don't you do it. Don't irritate me again.
Miss Owens' video was the top video on Facebook this past week, and she's saying all sorts of things about George Floyd and denying any systemic racism problems. And so there's a deeper fundamental issue with what the Facebook algorithm and all social media algorithms, what kind of content they reward.
Others doubled down on vaccine disinformation. Folks like right-wing commentator Candace Owens, who told followers that she wouldn't take the vaccine even on her deathbed.
Notice why they were attacking Candace Owens. What did she say? She said, well, actually, George Floyd was not murdered by a racist cop, much less by a systemically racist society. She said, actually, the vaccine doesn't work very well and it may be dangerous. She went on to say, no, Ukraine is not going to win the war against Russia. And for saying these things, every one of which is proven true, she was attacked as.
Don't you do it. Stop interrupting my stream. Audio issues, audio distortion. Stop interrupting my stream, please. I'm trying to tune into Tucker. Can you cooperate with me, please? What's going on with you tonight? I have not had any issues with you with this audio distortion. What's going on? Can you help a sister out? Help me out, please. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for the people. Help me out, please. Can you not? With the struggle stream. Please. I'm asking nicely. Please, please, please.
As an immoral person, a racist, and a traitor to her country. What's interesting, however, is that no one leveling those taxes ever apologized to her. And so maybe like Galileo, she's going to have to wait for her descendants to get the praise for her truth-telling. And we thought that seems unfair. So we decided to invite Candace Owens into the studio and congratulate her face-to-face. Candace Owens, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
By the way, you're about to have another descendant.
Actually, yeah, 40 weeks, but I was not missing this. I was so excited. I'm honored to be here.
Well, so it's a little weird to see yourself. Look, we all get things wrong. I certainly have gotten a lot of things wrong. I think it's fair to be attacked for getting it wrong. But if you get it right, and it's proven that you got it right, and in 3 instances it has been proven that you did on the biggest issues of the day,
So pretty,
shouldn't the people who attacked you apologize? And shouldn't someone at least point out, hey, Candace Owens was right about that?
No, I think what tends to happen is they have too much ego and they're too proud, and they want to sort of move on and pretend that they weren't as radical as they were in their stances, and calling you a grandma killer, if you wanted to go out the door and get groceries, or if you wanted to maybe see your grandma, because grandma shouldn't be dying alone, even if she is dying. So it takes a tremendous amount of humility to admit that you were wrong. People prefer to then pretend the internet will forget, and just that they had more nuance than they did on the issue of the day, which is fine with me. I'm totally.
I mean, it's one thing not to admit you're wrong. I understand it's difficult to do that. I have to force myself. But to attack other people for being right and then apologize for it does seem immoral.
It is immoral, and when we're living in an environment where there is a lot of me.
Okay, so obviously it wants to interrupt. So we'll just take a pause and we'll just briefly, we'll pause periodically, because apparently if I pause for a minute, it'll act right, which again, I'm not sure why it is behaving that way, but it just doesn't like me today apparently. So, just so far though, I think that the clips that they show from the news media, and how like they have really painted Candace as like this extreme, like, disinformation, misinformation queen. But when when the dust settles and when more information is revealed later on into the future, or as we just get more information, as more things come to the light, more times than not, like Candace ends up being proven right, or she ends up being proven that she was right to be skeptical of what was going on, like with as far as the jab. I don't know if YouTube still is sensitive about that word. But as far as the jab, like she was very much against the mandates, as were a lot of people. When it came to George Floyd, she was very much against the notion and the celebration of that man and of his life, and she was very much against this idea that Derek Chauvin was some racist murderer. And she made a whole documentary about it and what happens. She was very skeptical about BLM and what happened. What came to the light? Evidence and the truth came to the light that George Floyd was not murdered, that BLM was nothing but a scam, and that they were a fraudulent organization. The mandates were wrong, and people have since moved on, and it seems ridiculous that we even had to go through that at this point. And that's just a couple of things. There have been several different things throughout her career that she has been vocal about that were not popular at the time, but as time progressed, she ended up being proven correct, or at least proven that she had a right to be skeptical about it. Um, and she's right. Like they don't want to go back and admit when they were wrong once they're proven wrong. So they don't want to go back and say, you know what, we demonized Candace over this. We made her out to be the bad guy when in reality we just don't want to look like we were wrong, like look like we didn't know what we were talking about. So we're gonna just pretend like it didn't happen, and we're gonna just move on, and then we're also gonna pretend that we actually knew the truth the whole time. We were the ones who were sharing the truth. That's how that usually goes. So hopefully my audio has had enough time to rest, and we can get back into the video.
Seem immoral.
It is immoral. And when we're living in an environment where there is a lot of media immorality, people would rather you parrot certain talking points rather than have a meaningful discussion and a meaningful dialogue. And they don't accept it. And at the moment that they start to censor speech and they start talking, calling you names, like calling you a grandma killer, calling you a pro-Putin puppet, it's because they don't actually believe what they're saying. It just, these are ad hominem attacks to dissuade from having an actual debate, and there always should be an actual debate on every issue.
And when they never explain what you got wrong, they don't call it wrong, they call it disinformation, which suggests it could be right. That's usually a tell. And speaking of, so I was out of the country yesterday and didn't have adequate internet access on the plane to really follow this, and I don't understand the context exactly, but the internet was dominated yesterday by video of Ben Shapiro, who you work with at the Daily Wire, I think it's fair to say, attacking you. Here's the video. I just want to get your reaction to it.
Yes, the question is about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful. Without a doubt, I think it's I think she's been absolutely disgraceful. I think that her faux sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not faux sophistication, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see the moves that she's making and the things that she's saying, and I find them disreputable.
So maybe there's a point in the video where he explains what exactly you did wrong, how you were wrong. I haven't seen it. But to call somebody, quote, absolutely disgraceful, particularly a coworker, seems like a pretty big step. And I really don't know the background here. What is that about?
There isn't much of a background. I saw the video when everybody.
Are you really going to do this all night audio? Seriously? Are you really going to do this all night where you're only going to play for a few seconds and be polite, and then you're going to play my audio distorted? Is that what we're doing tonight, audio? This is what I mean when I said, I said this last night. Like, I'll just do, when people ask me why I don't make more content, it's because I just do not. I don't have the patience for this. I really do not have the patience for this. Like, it is beyond irritating. Like, what I'm trying to do is to just go through these growing pains. Like, this was why I kind of like took a hiatus. Like, I'm trying to just go through these growing pains because I feel like, once I kind of like get into the hang of it, it will be a lot smoother. But the technical issues I always have every stream, like, except for last night. Last night was like the first like slightly smooth stream. It was the first one. And so I was like, okay, I think I got all my bugs worked out. I think like I got it figured out now. I'm good. And then today we're here with a new issue. Like, it's always a new issue. I just cannot, for the life of me, understand why it does that. But here, let's try to play it now.
Everybody else saw it when I woke up.
No one warned you about it.
Nobody warned me about it. It looks like maybe he didn't know he was being recorded. It looks like it was some sort of a private event. I got no clarity on the issue that he was particularly speaking on, and in what was said, I can't respond to it beyond what he's saying because it's just ad hominem attacks. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not, we disagree, or yeah. I don't think she's correct, or maybe she doesn't know what she's talking about. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah, exactly. And So I can't respond to it on a level of intellect because there's nothing that he has expressed in that, at least in that short clip, that he fundamentally disagrees with in terms of what I said. But I will say that I'm not going to respond with the same ad hominem attacks.
Yes.
I don't think it helps further discussion. And if that was me that was caught on a video saying that about colleagues that I work with, I would be embarrassed. So I think that the video speaks more to Ben's character than it speaks to mine.
Has he texted you to apologize or explain or anything?
No, nothing. I haven't heard a single word. It just was sort of something that he said. And you know what? Ben and I have many disagreements, so I don't think that that's particularly something that's interesting. We disagreed on the COVID vaccine. We disagree on Ukraine and Russia. He has taken virtually every stance that has been the opposite of mine on every issue over the last 5 years. So I don't think that that's particularly remarkable.
Vaccine. Really, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, he was pro the COVID vaccine. I was anti the vaccine. You know, we were all idiots for not getting the vaccine. So that's totally fine. I am totally open to people having a difference in opinion.
Right.
I would hope that amongst colleagues that it would always be a civil disagreement. And I would never in a private event stand on a table and talk badly about Ben.
It's just it's a little weird. So he was on the left on those three biggest issues of our time, is what you're saying?
He has converted his opinions. He's accepted responsibility. He said, I was wrong about the vaccine.
Oh, good.
He is, obviously pro pharma. His mom's a doctor. And I say to people, I'm very, very aware of my perspectives on big pharma. And I talk.
Okay, so my audio is ready for another break. So, I love Candace. I really do. She is just like she's just such a classy woman, and I love that she didn't stoop down to Ben's level and just attack him and reveal some dirty secrets or some like dirty laundry or like some insider scoop of like Daily Wire issues, like and she's correct. Like his remarks that he was making, there was no intellectual argument. It was just him attacking her. And I understand what she's saying as far as like he didn't know that he was being recorded, but just the fact that okay, like you're at a party and you have a microphone in your hand and you're or maybe he didn't have a mic, I don't know, but you're standing on a table talking to a large group of people in 2023 when everyone has a phone. Like, so you knew that there was a possibility that somebody might pull out their phone and record you speaking. Like, you're Ben Shapiro. Like, you're one of the largest conservative voices in America right now, and you run one of the biggest conservative platforms. So for him to not think that, oh, I might possibly be getting recorded, unless there was like a policy at this party where like there were no phones allowed, I don't understand why he wouldn't have that in mind, like be considerate of that in the moment when he's making these remarks about Candace to what may be his friends. Like I can't see Candace ever getting in front of her friends and speaking degradingly about Ben or any of her colleagues that she works with, or really anyone that she has some type of work relationship with. I just can't see her doing that. And so I really appreciate that she kind of took the high road on that and was like, there's nothing to really respond to. Like, they're just ad hominem attacks on me. I don't know. I can't respond to any of that. Like, if that's his opinion of me, like, that's his opinion. I would rather us have a debate about what I'm saying. Like, what did I say that was so disgraceful? Like, what did I say that was so wrong? We can have a conversation about that. But if all you want to do is just throw ad hominem attacks on me, what can I say to that? Like, I can't do anything with that. So she's 100% right so far. And I really do appreciate her taking the high road and not stooping to Ben's level.
Responsibility. He said, I was wrong about the vaccine.
Oh, good.
He is, obviously pro pharma. His mom's a doctor. And I say to people, I'm very aware of my perspectives on big pharma, and I talk about it on my show openly. And I think that that's a tremendous credit to the Daily Wire that they allow a difference of opinions. But I as I said, hope that it would remain respectful and that you wouldn't throw your colleagues under a bus, so to speak.
I think that's fair. And just for clarity, because I really don't know, is he your boss?
Uh-oh. Are we loading?
Wait, it's a little weird. So he was on the left on those three biggest issues of our time, is what you're saying?
He has converted his opinions. He's accepted responsibility. He said, I was wrong about the vaccine.
Oh, good.
He is, obviously pro pharma. His mom's a doctor. And I say to people, I'm very aware of my perspectives on big pharma, and I talk about it on my show openly. And I think that that's a tremendous credit to the Daily Wire that they allow a difference of opinions. But as I said, hope that it would remain respectful and that you wouldn't throw your colleagues under a bus, so to speak.
I think that's fair. And just for clarity, because I really don't know, is he your boss?
I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about Ben's involvement. He's not the CEO of the Daily Wire. He is not making the decisions at the Daily Wire. And I do want to make it very clear, because people are like, how could you possibly stay at Daily Wire after this? I have a very good relationship with the co-CEOs of the Daily Wire. Especially right now, the acting CEO is Caleb Robinson. He's a wonderful person. He's worked very hard to be where he's at. We have a lot in common that we connect on. And so people don't get
let's try this. Jesus, I can't even get 8 minutes. I can't even get 9 minutes into this video.
We have a lot in common that we connect on, and so people don't get to see that.
I can't even get 10 minutes into this video. I really want to just let it play so I can hear what they're talking about, but my audio keeps jacking up. And I wish somebody was on my stream so that way I can Julian. Does my internet just not want to work now?
Movement to the Daily Wire. The rest of the hosts have their shows situated in Nashville, so we see each other every day. We talk. There's great camaraderie, and there's actually more agreement. There's actually a lot of people that are, as I describe myself, just pro America first, and I think I've been that way consistently throughout my political career. Whether people agree with it or not in different moments is up for debate. But I don't want that video to become a reflection of how the Daily Wire works, the Daily Wire operates, because I have had a very good experience with the CEOs, and love Michael Knowles, love Matt Walsh, Andrew Klavan. We all get along really great.
Well, it certainly speaks well of the Daily Wire then. So it's not, I mean, a clip like that on the internet, oh, Candace Owens is out or something. That's not, doesn't sound like that's what it means.
Yeah, no, it's a, it's a small group of people. We see each other every day.
Right.
Brett Cooper is another one who just joined about 2 years ago. She's great. She's up and coming. And there's a lot of stuff that we're working on. And that's why I think this video is even more unfortunate, because people see him as a figurehead, rightfully so, of the Daily Wire. And it allows people to, speak energy into the Daily Wire that isn't necessarily there because he's not there on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, that's very interesting. So if we could take 3 steps back and give us the context for this debate, how are you on different sides of it? I mean, I haven't heard you endorsing Hamas. Like, you're not. No.
Well, I have not endorsed Hamas in any way, and yet people have interpreted things that I say, or actually rather things that I don't say. It's becoming very much omniscient to me, and I have used my platform to say this of Black Lives Matter, where if you don't say anything, they say your silence is violence. If you say something and it's even-handed and it's nuanced, which is to say, during the times of Black Lives Matter, you might say, I don't support police brutality. Who does? I don't support racism. Who does? But also, I think that police are a crucial part of every city. We need to have police.
This stream just does not want me to be great tonight, y'all. It's really irritating me. I really might just end this because it's really irritating me at this point, and I can't even. Like, I can't even enjoy the video because because the audio keeps messing up. It's like it'll play for 2 minutes and then it just gives, and it's just irritating at this point. And it's it's not an enjoyable experience right now. I really wanted to just kick my feet up, share a little kiki, drink a little bit, and just enjoy my girl Candace doing her thing, but this audio is just not doing it for me tonight, and I really don't understand what's wrong with it, because I've done these lives a few times now, and the audio's never been so distorted like this when I'm doing it, and I wish I knew what was wrong.
Policing in cities, so these calls to defund the police are immoral and wrong and are going to lead to more Black deaths. People didn't want that nuance. When Black Lives, following George Floyd, there was no nuance. You had to explicitly say defund the police. You had to post a black square. If you didn't post a black square on Instagram, by the way, specifically on the platform of Instagram, and you maybe were busy that day, maybe you were in another country, maybe you just didn't log on to Instagram, you were accused of being a racist. I'm seeing a lot of that behavior right now when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a conflict that I have seen every single person, including myself, condemn what happened on October 7th. Because who wouldn't condemn terrorism? It's obvious. Who would not condemn innocent Israelis dying? But if you then say that it is also sad when an innocent Palestinian child dies, suddenly this is pro-Hamas, or you need to say, even when you're talking about how sad it is that a child dies, you need to button that statement by saying, but that child was a human shield. That's not going to be my response. First off, as a mother, that's not going to be my response as somebody who's about to give birth. When I see these images of children involved on both sides of the conflict, I've pointed to the people that are mocking dead Israeli children and said that they are horrific. I am even keel on this matter, and yet people think that you need to be extreme. So people that have become more radical and extreme are perceiving a moderate stance as not enough. And
I was about to say, people can disagree with you or agree with you or whatever, but you certainly don't seem radical on this stuff.
It has taken me 25 minutes to get through 11 minutes of this video. I'm about to send this video off to somebody because I'm gonna have to download this video and edit all the pauses out, because I do not want this to stay on YouTube, but I really want to put this content out. but I'm gonna have to get because I'm horrible at editing. I am it, I, it would take me 1,000 years to try to edit this video and get all those sound bites out. So I'm gonna have to ask around to a few people and see if anybody can edit this for me. It's hard to even give commentary on it because I keep having to stop it. Like it's so hard. It's like I feel like we're like just like getting into something like really good now. Um, but yeah, I'm glad that Candace is not leaving the Daily Wire. I'm glad that she's still staying because that was definitely like a concern for mine because like she said, like there is some misconception about like how things operate there, and so I think a lot of people, including myself, are under the impression that Ben is like the co-owner of the Daily Wire, and so you would think that he has like a lot of pull, as far as like who's allowed or just his opinion on the host of the platform. So I'm glad that like she's like not allowing this moment to disrupt her bag, okay, like to mess up her bag and what she's getting. Because, like you said, she's been getting treated very well by the Daily Wire, and they're paying her a good penny. She put out a lot of good projects. Like she just did her docu series "Convicting a Murderer," which has done very, very well. She also has done "A Shot in the Dark," which is her series on vaccine education, which has done very, very well as well. She did a documentary on Black Lives Matter on BLM, and that also did very, very well. So she's been able to put out a lot of like good content with them, and so I really didn't see her like wanting to end that partnership over this, but it was a concern, and it's just one of those things where it's like we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. But I did say like last night when I covered this and I was reacting to Ben's commentary about it in the video that Tucker played earlier in, I was like, if Candace leaves because of this, I'm leaving too. Like I'm gone. Like I am gone. Like I am not. I always forget to do this. Like I am not gonna be subscribed and spending my money with the Daily Wire when they are running away my favorite people. Like, no, Candace is my girl, and as much as like I like Ben, like I'm not gonna stay if his behavior is causing one of my people that I really support to leave. So yeah, I'm glad that she's not letting that get to her bag and like not letting her ruin that. And I'm glad that she is really having like a good experience with the Daily Wire overall. So that's really, really good to hear. So hopefully I gave my audio enough time of a break. And maybe it can play nicely for me again. Let's see.
Definitively not radical. My stance has not changed in terms of whether or not America should be involved in this conflict. Whether we were talking about Afghanistan, my comments have been clear. They've been documented for years. Whether we are talking about Ukraine and Russia, my comments have been clear and they have been documented. I mean, you can go back to me even talking about NATO expansion before things erupted between Russia and Ukraine, and having a meaningful discussion about how much expansion is too much expansion. How would we feel if we had troops on our border? These are things that should be allowed in an academic discussion. You should be able to sit on stage and should be able to debate these ideas without using ad hominem attacks to say that you're a pro-Putin puppet or you're pro-terrorism. Even in the aftermath of 9/11, something that we all remember as part of my childhood. I think I was in 7th grade at the time, and I'm born in the New York City area, so this was a very big deal. If a person the day after 9/11 wanted to debate the Patriot Act, it's not fair to call them terrorist sympathizers.
No.
Actually, they would have been proven right in the long run that act we give up a lot of our freedoms. And I think there was only one congressman, a Republican, that was against the Patriot Act at that time. So it's important, actually, when you start making decisions in a highly emotional time, that people sit down and have these academic debates. And there are people that are saying, no, it doesn't matter because people are dead, that you need to just choose a side, and that needs to be it. It needs to become tribal.
There's also, I can't help but notice that your view.
I feel like is it my phone? Ooh, don't do that. Cause I feel like it's low key my phone attempting to overheat, but I always use my phone when I do these streams. It never acts like that, even if it is overheating. Yeah, it's not even hot for real. It's not even.
Views reflect mine. I would say pretty much. I'm kind of horrified about what happened on October 7th. Honestly, just really strange. I don't really understand how it happened, but innocents died, and that's awful. And I hated watching it. I feel so sorry for the Israelis who were killed. However, there's an emotional response that is disproportionate, I think, on the part of some commentators. I mean, our country's being invaded right now. Millions of young men whose identities we don't know, who probably don't even like America, and they're now living here. Over 100,000 Americans die every year of fentanyl. I own a couple. Those are real tragedies. I've never seen anything like the emotion from any commentator around those tragedies as I'm watching about a foreign tragedy. I think that's odd.
I think what tends to happen is, of course, we all have elements of selfishness within us, and so when it particularly pertains to an issue that impacts you, I was strongly speaking out against Black Lives Matter as very early on because I understood the implications were going to be of defunding
Yes.
the police.
You want to know what's funny? Every stream that I've done so far, the video when it's playing, it always like lags and it like freezes up and stuff. And I couldn't really figure out why. But this stream, my my video is playing beautifully. Like it's playing as far as I can see, like it's playing beautifully. It's playing fine. Um, but of course, now that the video is playing fine and the audio was messed up, and I literally said in the beginning, I don't remember if it was on this stream or the one that I was on before I came on to this stream, but I deleted that one because the audio it was horrible that first stream. Um, but I was saying like I was pre-warning you guys. I was like my audio. I was like my video might be a little choppy, but I was like, but that's fine. Like I'm more worried about the audio than the video. Like the video can be choppy and it can kind of drag and delay a little bit. Like I really wasn't concerned about the video if that was the case, but it was like the audio is what I really need to play smoothly. And of course, I don't know like if I jinxed it, but of course now my video is playing beautifully, it's playing fine, but now my audio is jacking up, which is just well, which is just well. So I just thought that was funny. Like, of course, like of course, like now that like, my video is playing smoothly, everything's fine. Now it wants to jack up my audio.
Right.
It was an issue that was important to me. I created an entire documentary to talk about this issue.
Yes.
And I held on for a long time, and people began to see that actually I was telling the truth. And now we have more death in inner city communities than we had before.
Yes.
These riots and these George Floyd protests calling for defunding of the police. And I think in terms of this, that's what's also happened is that people that are pro-Israel are pro-Israel, a lot of them, because they have family members in Israel.
I get it.
They have homes in Israel.
Yes.
And so they feel very attached to this issue. And, I was very happy to host somebody who was pro-Israel. He's a pro-Israel comedian on my show the other day. And I explained this to him. I said, you are demanding that we have this same response that you are having about what people are saying on college campuses. The rhetoric on college campuses hasn't changed. Did you not remember what they were saying, what professors were saying? The anti-white explicit racism that was happening, and not even just allowed in terms of student protests, but was written into the curriculum at these universities for years. People were learning this actively in school, that whiteness was associated with wrongness. You had college professors that were writing about this need there need to be less white people in America. You can find these articles. They exist online.
They're everywhere.
They're
everywhere.
And
that seems genocidal. I mean, if you're
saying it is genocidal,
like by definition, if you're saying being a certain ethnicity or race is itself a sin and we need less of you, I mean, that is the definition, is it not?
Right. It was an
Title?
understanding of needing to breed out white people. It was unbelievable what I was seeing, and I was impacted by it because I'm in a biracial relationship and I have biracial children. So you are telling me that my children are going to have to decide between whether or not they are white oppressors or they are Black victims. It doesn't stand for me. So I was attached to this issue, and it's something that I fought for hard on college campuses. And there was no support. There was nobody talking about, well, this is what needs to go. These kids need to go onto blacklists. And by the way, if they did speak that way, I would have disagreed with it because I am pro 1A. I believe in the First Amendment. I believe that kids.
And there we go again. We know we have to just take a brief intermission every 5 seconds, apparently, because my audio hates me today, my computer hates me today, my phone hates me today. It all just it's not a fan of me today. Apparently, I was too excited to do this live. That's what it was. I was too excited for this live, and yeah, it just decided to not like me today. But we're working through it. Just a brief pause, brief intermission, and then we can get back into the video. I really am enjoying the interview though. I wish I wish I was able to like just kind of play it more smoothly, like all the way through, instead of like having to keep stopping. But we're getting through it. We're getting through it slowly but surely. We're making our way through it. Let me try.
By the way, are naturally stupid. In case people forget, I started on the left, right?
Yeah.
So if you found me in college, you would have found a pro-life person who believed, in some racist principles, fundamental racism in America, because that was what I was being taught systematically
Yes.
in the classroom. And then I got to grow up and change my mind. And I don't think people have thought past their immediate emotions to consider what's going to happen when you put these kids on blacklists. You think that's going to bring them over to the pro-Israel side when they get older? Most of these kids, especially when you're talking about the cream of the crop at these Ivy League universities, already have access to money and wealth and connections. And so maybe debating the issues and explaining to them why it was wrong to sign this specific letter, which didn't call for explicit violence against the Israelis, but it actually was very poorly timed and it blamed them for what happened, which would have been horrific. Imagine after 9/11, somebody issues a letter on college campus that says, "Oh well, sorry about the fire department."
I agree.
Yeah,
I get why donors are mad.
Imagine,
and by the way, I support donors giving money to things they agree with.
Yes, I support that.
I strongly do.
Yep.
The part that, and so I have no problem with that at all.
Same.
You don't like it, don't pay for it. Good for you. However, then I thought, well, wait a second. If the biggest donors at, say, Harvard have decided, well, we're going to shut it down now, where were you the last 10 years when they were calling for white genocide? You were allowing this. And then I found myself really hating those people, actually. That you're okay with that? On what grounds were you okay with that?
And this is what I've been trying to explain to the pro-Israel lobby, that what you are seeing as lack of support is people that are asking the question is, where were you as we have endured all of this?
You were paying for it, actually.
Right.
You were paying for it.
You were paying for it.
You were calling my children immoral for their skin color. You paid for that. And so why shouldn't I be mad at you? I don't understand.
And I think that this is a fair argument. Like, this is a fair assessment of what's been going on. I understand what he's saying and what Candace is saying on some level, and Candace has been saying this, and I think that a lot of people confuse like this message with, oh, like you're anti-Israel or like you're pro-Hamas, and it's just like, no, everyone doesn't have to care about every single issue, or not that they don't care, but everyone does not have to take a very strong stance on every single issue. People are vocal about the things that they're passionate about or the things that maybe have an impact on them, right? So for Candace, like she said, she is married to a white man. She has biracial children. And so for her, the rhetoric that's been taking place over the last, 6, 7, 8 years with Black Lives Matter running rampant and, all of the rhetoric that's been being spewed, that's basically, anti-white rhetoric, saying that white people are evil, they're oppressors, and putting it into the curriculum for our children, on college campuses, about, just how bad white people are and how horrible they are, and that they're, like the worst of the worst, they're scum, all types of stuff. I've heard like really, really disgusting things about white people. I honestly like used to participate in stuff like that because I was just unaware of like what kind of impact that was having, right? Like I was just kind of just going with like this is what I'm raised with, like this is how all my family feels, this is how my friends feel. And it's like once you leave the democratic plantation, and once you like take off your lens of racism, looking at everything that happens in your life or everything that happens in the world through a lens of racism, through a lens of I'm being oppressed, and through a lens of I'm a victim. Once you like remove that, you really see like how disgusting some of the rhetoric is with black people towards whites and with other minorities towards white people. And so what they're saying is, where were these donors who are so upset with these college students who are supporting Palestine and supporting and showing support on some level for Hamas, and they're pulling their money out of these Ivy League schools. They're pulling money out of these colleges, like they're wanting to dox these students who are pro-Palestine. It's just like, where were you guys when people were screaming about things that were happening here on our soil in our country? Like, where were you guys? And and then a counter to that would be, yes, what's been happening here is important, and it also is happening within our borders. So there is some type of, you have more of a allegiance to what's happening here in America, but it's like what has happened over here has not been a terror attack. Like, people have not, like, white people were not out getting slaughtered by, anti-white people, or, people who believe that white people are oppressors. Like, white people were not out getting slaughtered because of that. White people were not in fear of their lives just for being white, and so I think, like, while I do understand that point, it's really kind of hard to compare. I think where it kind of mixed up in that argument is that, like, these are issues that are happening in our country, right? Like, these are things that are happening within our borders. And so why do we care so much about what's happening over there on the other side of the world, and we have no regard for the things that are happening here? So, I definitely understand their point, but again, I do think, like, the pushback would just be that, the people who are in Israel, they are going through much, 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 much more heinous things than what the white people in America have gone through. Like, they hear some harsh words, like they might get their feelings hurt, or they might feel degraded, but they're not getting slaughtered. They're not, being targeted for hate crimes. So there's my 2 cents on that. But I feel them. I feel them though.
So that is, obviously you have a ton of white people that are asking this question, and they're now being called anti-Semitic. And I think that that's wrong. I think these are meaningful questions that deserve to be answered. Why was this sort of verbiage allowed into the curriculum? I mean, could you imagine if in the curriculum it said that every Jewish person born is a terrorist? This is systematically what has been said.
I would be totally opposed to that.
You're learning this, not even just, by the way, at the college campus level, in high schools. I've covered this on my show. At high schools, that they are now allowing children to stand up in an auditorium during not Black Lives Matter week, during what is February? African whole month of February, African American month, Black History Month. I was like totally blanking. I'm like, what is February? Black History Month. They were allowing at this very elite school $50,000 per month to attend the school, per year to attend the school, for these children to stand up on a stage and yell in an auditorium. Black kids were allowed to be on the stage. White kids were sitting down at this elite school, and they said, "You don't know what we lived through. You don't understand how your whiteness impacts me." This is going on in New York City right now. That is explicit anti-white.
Okay, so I thought that my little spiel would give me a little more time with my audio, but it is already jacking up. Excuse me. Really? I talked for like 5 minutes. That is so rude.
You don't understand how your whiteness impacts me. This is going on in New York City right now. That is explicit anti-white racism that is happening. And I covered it on my show extensively. Nobody cared. There was no bus calling these kids anything wrong. And so trying to explain that, of why people maybe are not reacting with the amount of vigor that you would like to see, is now being interpreted as anti-Semitism. So everyone's being called anti-Semitism.
It's a little bit like watching the city of San Francisco in the week before Xi Jinping shows up become totally clean, sparkling clean. There are no junkies or rapists on the street. and you feel like asking the authorities, well, wait, you had the power to do this, but you didn't? You had the power to stop racism at Harvard, but you didn't? Why are you not a criminal, actually, for allowing that? I don't have you asked anybody this? Have you asked a donor this? I've been trying to get one on this.
So I believe it seems like they're going to segue into a different topic. So I might just end it here as far as covering the video, because my audio is just jacking up and
We
it's
just
not.
return to that standard. I'm missing it.
Right. And this has been a dialogue that I think some of us have been having for years. So people are just now jumping into this dialogue. And I don't fault them, their emotion, but I'm
Yes.
not going to become a radical and rise to that level of emotion. I think.
Okay, so we're gonna let it pause for just another moment. But yeah, since they did bring it up, I guess I can just speak on that for a second since we have a few minutes to spare. But yeah, so in case you missed it, yeah, San Francisco did a massive cleanup job. That's what he was referencing just now. Like they did. So we had Xi Jinping from China and other world leaders, and Joe Biden were coming to San Francisco for a world summit or some kind of something for all the world leaders, the major world leaders. And if you did not know, San Francisco is practically a shite hole. It is, the homeless problem is completely out of control. It's like you walk down the street, it's like zombies walking down the street. The streets are filthy. Crime is rampant in the city. But when all these world leaders came into town, the people were surprised because all of a sudden the streets were clean. The homeless people had been relocated to somewhere different. And everyone's just like, wait a minute, this has been a problem for literally years, and we've been begging you guys to make some adjustments to it. But it took the leader of China coming in town and other world leaders coming in town for you to actually do something about it. So you had the power to make a change, and you just weren't doing it. And so he was tying that back into, I guess, their argument about how there have been so many issues with racism happening on campuses and in the country already, and the people who had the power to put a stop to it or who had the power to have some influence over it chose not to until the most recent events in Israel. So he was kind of just comparing those two things, which, I mean, he's got a point. He's got a point. I'm not gonna say he doesn't have a point.
I think my takes have been very moderate. Even people that are reading into things that I haven't said are unable to explain to me why what I'm saying is not okay. They can't point to a specific sentence that I said that was wrong. It's more about how they're reading into the sentence, which if it's how you are reading into it, that is your emotion. And as I said, my views have not changed.
Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna end it here because it keeps. I'm not gonna keep doing this audio all night. And we're already almost an hour into the stream. The stream was only supposed to be about an hour. I was hoping to just get through the whole video, get through the whole interview, but this audio is acting up. So I don't know. I might try to just record some content tomorrow instead of doing the live stream. I might just try to record the me reacting to the interview instead, and hopefully it just works a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think that Candace did a great job taking the high road. I do agree with her that people are really bothered by her consistency on foreign policy and her pro America stance. She's right about how no one is really no one who is so against her is really pointing out what she's saying that's so wrong. They just don't like that she's not waving an Israeli flag, basically, and that's what Ben is pretty much just mad that she isn't waving an Israeli flag. Like he could, again, like in his rant that he went on, he did not attack anything or he did not speak to anything that she was actually saying. It was just ad hominem attacks, and so she can't control how people feel with what she says, but it's just like if you want to my thing is if you're gonna criticize somebody, criticize what they're actually saying. Like don't just attack them for on a personal level. Like actually listen to what they're saying and argue the point of what they're saying, not just you're bad, you're disgraceful, you're an idiot, whatever the case is. Like, let's not do that. Like, let's have a meaningful conversation about the argument, and save the personal attacks for, elementary school playground. Let's maybe do that. So with that being said, I apologize for all the audio issues, guys. I do not know what's going on. I'm going to try and go. I'm gonna try to do some recording tomorrow, maybe, and see if I can figure out what the issue with that was. And I'm going to also try to get this video out to like an editor, because I cannot do the editing. I've tried to mess around with it, and I think maybe I just like need somebody's. I just need like some guidance over it. Like, I just need some guidance on editing and what kind of software to use, because the way I do it, it is just a struggle. It takes me literally hours to figure out editing, and I just, again, like I've said before, I just don't have the patience for it. So I'm gonna see if I can find somebody who's like good at editing, who can maybe like give me some guidance, or wouldn't mind editing this video up for me to remove all of the issues, or I might just delete this altogether, honestly, if I can't figure something out, and just do like some pre-recorded stuff. Yeah, it's kind of blew me. I was so excited for this live. I was so excited for this stream. Like, I was so excited to get into it. And yeah, but that's just part of the growing pains of content creation. I guess you have to just go through it and it'll get better. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't already. And also subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss any videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.